Welcome back to TV5 News at 9, and it's time for our favorite segment, Education Matters. We are here with Dr. Craig Douglas. Grab a pen and some paper. Dr. Douglas has some terrific tips that we all need right now. How are you, Dr. Douglas, this morning?
I'm well. Thanks for asking. How are you doing, Colette?
I'm doing well, Dr. Douglas. We are so glad you're here to talk about this. Now, this is happening every single day, viewers, more and more. Today, we are talking about what to consider when your child must stay home due to COVID-19. This pandemic has been really scary and a pretty uncertain time for parents wanting to keep their children safe, which is why it's so important to know what to do when your child tests positive or is exposed to COVID-19. So, Dr. Douglas, what happens following a positive case?
Well, I think the key is not to panic. This virus is spreading.
Yes.
Before it was not hitting children. Now it seems to be hitting children more frequently. This virus is silent. It's invisible, and it can be very deadly. If symptoms are present, if the child is sick, err on the side of caution and keep the youngster home. You don't want to send them to school with a sniffle that could end up being COVID. As you said in the intro, if the child tests positive, then likely if there are symptoms, that means the student's going to be kept home and probably isolated at home. That means they probably have the virus, and that's a sickness. They need to get better.
Yes.
They need to get rest, follow doctor's orders, etc., until the virus runs its course. The students also might be quarantined if they're exposed to COVID but don't have the symptoms. In that case, they could end up being kept home in isolation, or they could be simply tested each day at school. The school and the medical professionals will provide guidance. So what can parents do? I said be calm, stay positive. It's a worry, but look at resources on the web, like our own county health department. The state of Michigan has excellent resources, the CDC, and also UNICEF. And overall, staying calm and let the virus run its course is probably the best initial action. Second, stay connected with the school. Keep the child engaged with the schoolwork as much as possible. You don't want to compound the issue, right, Colette, by being home and frustrated and then falling behind in schoolwork. It just simply multiplies the stress, and climbing back to the school will be a bigger challenge when the all clear is given.
Isn't it important to really reassure your child, if we follow doctor's orders, we follow what the medical professionals say, you're going to be okay?
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah. The reassurance can be so important in keeping the child's confidence. Yes. Otherwise, they could feel, a lack of confidence become detached, and it could actually snowball into more problems down the road. This is hopefully a short term. In my case, when I had COVID in November a year ago, it was about a 2-week ordeal. I felt like I had the flu. I ran a low-grade fever, and I think children have similar type symptoms in many cases. Not all, but in many cases. The third thing I would say to parents is to use this as a learning tool. Have conversations about the virus and about safe practices so that the COVID is less likely to surface again. And ultimately, maybe have conversations about things like vaccinations and, again, social distancing, hand washing. All those safe practices are all opportunities for conversation if and when the virus hits home.
Having a quarantine can happen anytime, so how should families and parents really prepare for that possibility of kids staying home?
There's no one pathway. Probably I would suggest having that conversation about what if.
Yes.
Ahead of time, what if we should have a positive test? What would we do? What are some resources that we can access, whether it's grandpa and grandma to help do some babysitting or some carpooling or whatever? Have some proactive things in mind. What's this saying? If you prepare for the worst and hope for the best, well, that's kind of what this virus causes parents to do in many cases.
That's for sure. And Dr. Douglas, anything else that parents should know during this time, especially when any day you could get the word about COVID-19 and your school or quarantining? What should we do?
I just see the schools really being open, two-way communications back and forth with home, and use the school resources that are offered to help in the short run in the long run, everybody will be stronger for it.
Dr. Douglas, thank you so much. You've given us peace of mind. It is such a challenging time right now, and to be prepared and to just keep the lines of communication open with your children as well as your school is so important. Thank you, Dr. Douglas. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Stay safe and be well.
You as well, Dr. Douglas. For more information about today's topic, check out the school source page. That's at WNEM.com.